Yeah, the approach of the week is to get rested, recovered. Got in late after the New England game, able to get some regen and get back on the field today. Take inventory of who's healthy, who's can turn it around. It's a good opportunity for us because I thought there was moments of play versus New England that we can build on, positives that we can build on and take into Wednesday. And now it's really all focused on DC, a team that has a golden boot forward, chasing that, and who's with a great accomplished career. I think a lot of his opportunities come from a really good supporting cast. They have a very clear style of play, a very clear way of they want to do things, and it's a team that we're going to have to, be sharp against to get 3 points here at home.
Great, thanks, Coach. We'll start in the room with Claudio.
Jay, it seems like at this point of the season, a goal makes a difference. We already saw it in New England. That's it. That's all you need. So having a score, like you're saying, in DC is very important, even though Nashville is a team that is difficult to score against. What would you be, how do you confront them in terms of offensive, making sure that you make the most possibilities here at Joyce?
Yeah, I think for us, we know down at this part of the season, these games are decided by fine margins, and you saw that in the New England game. We have a couple chances that we don't put away. We limit a lot of chances from from their end, but they're able to find one goal, and that's the deciding factor. For us coming into Geodis on Wednesday night, it's really about, again, building on the positive, but staying true to who we are. But having a healthy respect for the threats that they pose to us. We're looking forward to putting on a performance that's true to our Nashville identity and something that the fans can be proud of, with the confidence that those fine margins we can find a few of them, and I think we showed last week that we can score the goals. We have guys that can score the goals. Against New England, we just were a little bit unlucky with the finishing, but I think we can continue to create those goal-scoring chances. We have confidence that we can get one.
Now, besides the goal scorer that you already stated, what is the other things that you pretty much stress with the guys about DC coming into the house?
Yeah, for us, I think they have a really good, a really balanced team, right? So it's a team that's had, they like to hit you in transition. So I think that's a great strength of theirs. A team that plays in an aggressive manner. So it's something that we'll have to manage as well. And they have I think they have a lot of individual talent as well. Guys that can make plays. The focus isn't always just on Benteke. Even the goal that you see them score is Hudi Pietro makes a huge play and then sets it up. So that they do have a lot of a lot of weapons. And I think it's a team that that plays in that aggressive style, so it's just something we have to manage.
We'll go to Ben on Zoom.
Yeah, BJ, you talked a lot about DC's style. Just looking at their game against Columbus, they were super direct, and it felt like they were pretty easily able to kind of take advantage anytime Columbus pushed numbers forward. They looked to hit and get into that space. Just how important is it to, while you guys are pushing for goals, to be aware and just kind of keep an organized rest defense and be aware of them in transition?
Yeah, it's a great point you bring up. For us, I talk when we sort of look back at the New England game to look forward to this DC game. It's about, for our team, it's about managing the phases of play. So constantly thinking about what's the next phase while we're in a phase. So if we're in a build up from midfield or we're finishing in an attack, having numbers to be able to win the ball back quickly, having numbers behind, like you say, we call press position while attacking, but same thing as rest defense, having that net to control that. So for us, it's about being more consistent in managing multiple phases of play at the same time. Vice versa, when we're in our mid block and we're defending well, how quickly we can either get into offensive transition, which I thought we did a pretty good job in New England, finding those moments, or opportunities to connect the first and second pass and retain possession and get into our build-up. So I think the better we are in managing multiple phases of play, that'll lead us to more success.
Go ahead, Ben, with your second.
Yeah, and then you've kind of talked just in terms of personnel about how like you feel like with clear instructions, players are kind of able to perform different roles. Obviously, within that, they're like players have different skill sets. So I'm just kind of curious with a guy like Randall coming back, what do you feel like he offers the team and can maybe do a little bit differently? And I guess what are you kind of hoping to see from him in these final 3 games and hopefully more than that?
Yeah, I think Randall's a great example of a guy who likes to play in between the lines. He's very comfortable in tight spaces with pressure around him. In fact, a great quality of his is that he attracts pressure. He wants it to come close to him so that then he can exploit with quick combination play the opportunity to get out and get into transition. So I think for us, it's when he gets his opportunity, it's making sure that we're finding him in between lines. We're putting players around him to play combination play. And then the challenge for him is to try and make some final passes. He has a creative mind, and he has a high technical ability. So I think there's opportunities there for him to, unlock and make some final passes into guys running into the penalty box. So I think those are qualities that I think he can bring to our team, and how we can set him up to be successful.
Valer?
Yeah, BJ, we've seen your teams play with 3 at the back, 4 at the back. We've seen your team play a little bit with the ball or maybe defending a little bit more, I guess. The question is there a formation or a system that you would say is the BJ Callaghan system, or is it kind of just depending on the opponents each week?
For us, we look at systems of play based upon the opponent. We're not defined by what we call systems of play. We look at things more through principles of play. So regardless of if it's 5 in the back or 4 in the back or 2 up top or 3 up top, for us it's about having the same identity whenever we're playing that. So the players have clear roles and responsibilities. They know the principles. We're all looking and trying to behave inside that system the same always. So that's more about our overarching philosophy here at Nashville. And then you have the opportunity to set the team up from a system of play to what I would say, try to exploit the weaknesses of the opponent and also to mitigate the strengths of the opponent, and how you can do that, utilizing our player pool and the profiles that our players have.
Go ahead, Valer.
Yeah, and you've been pretty clear that the goal this season is to make the playoffs. If you were to miss the playoffs, how would you categorize the season?
Sorry, that broke up, Valer. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, I mean, the goal has always been to make the playoffs, obviously. If you were to miss the playoffs this season, how would you characterize that?
I mean, we characterize it as disappointment. The standard of any team, and I think the standard of Nashville, is to make the playoffs. So there's no silver lining to that in our locker room. We have a committed group of players that are committed to each other and committed to the goal of making the playoffs. If we fall short of that, we learn from it, we build upon it, but there's no short of being completely disappointed. That's the goal. That's what the fans here expect. That's what we expect internally, and that's always going to be the standard.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, guys. We'll see you Wednesday at Geodis Park. As well, thank you.
Yeah, the mindset right now is win. I mean, we're at the end of the season. We need basically 3 wins out of the last 3 games. So we had a disappointing result at the weekend, but no time to dwell on it. The good thing about having a congested season is you can change your mind real quick and turn it around and focus on something else. So we have a difficult opponent on Wednesday in DC United, a team that's battling for exactly what we're battling for. I think they probably need a win, just as much as we do. So you're going to see 2 teams who are really going for 3 points.
Thanks, Joe. We'll start in the room. A reminder on Zoom, if you have a question, use the hand raise function. Claudio?
Joe, it seems like the last game was one of those games where you could pretty much walk away with the victory as well. And that it didn't happen for the reasons that we talked about it already. But what would the team need to do to prevent something like that happening, well, like you said, in the next 3 games?
Yeah, I think we just need to stay focused for 90 minutes and stick to the game plan for 90 minutes. We kind of talked about it yesterday a little bit, and the New England game is one of those where if it happens at the beginning of the season, you say, okay, it's disappointing, but there are a lot of positives we can take away from it. But right now, it doesn't really matter how well we play. We just need to get results. So I think at the end of the day, we need to find something within ourselves, whether we're playing well or not playing well, to just, use willpower to get results and to get wins out of these last 3 games.
Now, there's a lot of reasons why a team that loses or ties or wins a game in the MLS. But when you look at the table, even though there's some huge difference perhaps in terms of points and maybe goals scored, goals against, all that, you could probably say, well, there's a big difference between you guys and perhaps the first 5 teams. But when you look at the games, actually, that's not the case. Is that how you see you as an MLS player or fan?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've watched most of our games this season, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 games, they've all been pretty close games. And scoring goals is the hardest thing to do in sports. Everyone wants to, in soccer at least, everyone wants to do it. That's why goal scorers get paid the big bucks when they can do it. So we've, as a team, we've been having a little bit of a difficult time finding the back of the net this season, but I think we have a lot of good pieces, and we have a lot of good ideas going forward on how we can score more goals. And now it's just about keeping it tight at the back end and executing in front of goal.
We'll go to Ben Wright on Zoom. I think you're muted.
Want to win every game,
Oh.
and probably need to win every game. Do you feel like 9 points from these next 3 games is going to be enough to squeeze into the playoffs, or are you kind of just thinking we can control what we can control and not worry about the rest?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can only control what we can control. Like you said, we can get 9 points out of the next 3 games and still not make the playoffs. So there's, I haven't really looked at all the other schedules and who plays who, and there's probably 10,000 different scenarios that can play out. So we're just focused on what we can control, and that's trying to get 3 points out of Wednesday. And if we do that, then looking forward to Sunday to try to get 3 more.
Go ahead, Ben, if you have a second.
Yeah, and then after just a loss on Saturday, how do you feel like it's any kind of advantage to you guys to just be able to immediately flip the switch and not have a ton of time to kind of dwell on that, but be like, hey, we have a game in 3 to 4 days, and you have to immediately start focusing on that?
I would say maybe from a mental standpoint, it's a bit of an advantage. I think in a game like that, there are certain positives that you can pull, and if you have more time in the week, then you can look at more video and focus on what we did well in that game. But I think from a mental standpoint, at this point of the season, when you need wins and you need results, it does benefit to have another game so soon, knowing that we can focus on this and we have more opportunities ahead.
We'll go to Valère on Zoom.
Hey, Joe, you've been with the team since 2020, obviously, when MLS started for Nashville SC, and the team has been known to be this defensive juggernaut, really. This season, things aren't going as well. How hard has it been in goal with maybe conceding more goals than usual this season, and how everything played out so far?
Yeah, to put it bluntly, it sucks. As a goalkeeper, whether it's in training, games, whether it's 1 goal or 10 goals, you hate giving up goals. So this season, it's obviously been happening more than in the past. So, I think we got a little. We've been fortunate in the past that we've, kept so many clean sheets, given up so few goals that kind of became the norm. So this year, when we're giving up more goals, it feels a little odd and it hurts more because we know that we're capable of being better. That said, I think this year has been a strange year for us. I think over the last our first 4 years at least, consistency has been something that we've relied on, not just on the field but off the field. And this year we've obviously had some changes and this, that, and the other thing. So it's been a weird year in that viewpoint, but getting back to what we do best, which is keeping clean sheets and being difficult to break down, is something that we are working very hard towards.
And go ahead, Valeria, if you have another.
Yeah, a big talking point for goalkeepers lately has been playing with their feet and being able to kind of pass the ball or have the right distribution. Have you had to do more playing on your feet with BJ Callaghan since he came on, or has it been the same for you?
I would say it's probably been the same, maybe even less. I think if you've watched our games recently, most of my goal kicks have been going long, and we've had some success at that. Yeah, to your point, playing out of the back with goalkeepers has been kind of a trend in world football recently, and I think back to when I started in the league. I mean, if I got a pass back, it was a one-time boot down the field, and that was the end of it. So it's throughout my career I've had to evolve in that aspect. But I think it can benefit a team to have a goalkeeper with solid feet, and to be able to keep possession and get out of situations in that way. But also, I feel as a goalkeeper, my number one job is to keep the ball out of the back of the net, and the whole playing out of the back is kind of secondary to that.
Great, thanks so much, Joe. Thanks, guys. We'll be back shortly with Coach Callaghan.
Thanks, guys.